Okay, I have a question for all of the single straight men. What are you doing?
Isn't it interesting that so many women thrive being single?
Why do men stay single?
2 reasons.
The male loneliness epidemic is just a fancy way of saying that a huge number of men are bringing absolutely nothing to the table, and women have finally stopped pretending that's okay. That's it.
Women are single and celibate by choice. Men are single and celibate for a reason.
How are so many single men in 2026 looking calmer, happier, and more stable, while everyone else seems stressed out? Why are modern women starting to question how average men are surviving alone and still enjoying life? And what changed that made so many men stop depending on relationships for happiness? Stay with us till the end of this video, because this quiet shift is changing modern dating culture completely.
Okay, I have a question for all of the single straight men. What are you doing? Because every single day, I walk out of my front door to the most beautiful, gorgeous, just goddesses of women walking around living their best life like they're just not heaven on earth. So what are you doing? Why are you fumbling the bag? Why are you single? Why are you not just snatching up all of these amazing, beautiful, smart, educated, sexy women? Because they're everywhere I look. Get it together.
For years, society pushed the idea that single men were supposed to be lonely and unsuccessful without relationships. But in 2026, millions of bachelors are quietly proving the opposite. Many men are thriving emotionally, financially, and mentally while living completely on their own terms.
Isn't it interesting that so many women thrive being single, but men on their own are notoriously unhappy and dysfunctional? I mean...
What shocks many women the most is how simple these men live. Smaller apartments, basic routines, gym sessions, gaming, side hustles, online work, and peace at home became enough for many average guys to feel content.
A woman in her 30s who doesn't have romantic love, it's like the greatest tragedy ever. You know, poor Lisa never found romantic love, and now she's in her 40s and she has cats. What a tragedy. Guess what? Lisa's just fine. All of the research shows the following. Men need and benefit from relationships much more than women. Widows are happier after their husband dies. True. This is true. Women do live longer in relationships. They live 2 to 4 years longer. Men live 4 to 7 years longer. If a man hasn't cohabitated with a woman or been married by the time he's 30, there's a 1 in 3 chance he'll be a substance abuser. When women don't have a romantic relationship, oftentimes pour a lot of that energy back into their friend network and their professional lives. When men don't have a relationship, they pour a lot of that energy back into online content, nationalism, misogyny, anti-immigration. They start blaming other people for their problems. In my 20s, 30s, and even into my 40s, I didn't want to get married, I didn't want to have kids. Everything was about more. No matter how much money, I want more money. Just never quite sated. And the only time I have ever felt sated is when I'm with my boys and my partner and we're all on the couch, or I know they're safe, I know they're protected, I know they're loved. It's the only time I've ever had a moment where I thought, okay, I get it. This is it. This is enough. It is the most unexpected means of finding purpose and meaning in my life.
A lot of men also became emotionally exhausted with modern dating culture. Endless expectations, mixed signals, financial pressure, and validation games pushed many average men to quietly disconnect from relationships altogether.
Dan, repeat what you just asked me.
I said my head hurts. What should I do?
Well, if your head hurts, maybe you should take some medicine. Medicine usually helps.
What medicine do I take?
Well, we have ibuprofen. Do you want to take that? That usually helps with pain.
Okay, where's the ibuprofen at?
Where it always is, Dan. In the drawer in the kitchen. Next to the sink. Do you want to go look for it and see?
This one?
No, that's not a drawer.
Oh, it says ibuprofen on it?
Yeah, the ibuprofen says ibuprofen
it.
on
Is that
it.
it?
Yes, that's it, Dan.
In 1 year or 2 or 5 or 10 years from now, when she finally ends things with him, he's going to say that it came out of nowhere. But the fact is, these little moments where his ineptitude is on display, where he demonstrates his weaponized incompetence, just his sheer idiocy and lack of capability of acting like an adult, they accumulate They culminate into one giant moment where she realizes that she despises him, that she wanted to date an adult man, but now she's the mommy to a child who cannot take care of himself. A lot of men who have relationships end say that intimacy had stopped happening at some point, and they just didn't understand why. It's because she's no longer attracted to you, because she realizes how much of a pathetic loser you are. Men, if you want to be in a healthy relationship, you need to work on yourself to become a self-sufficient, independent adult. Someone who can maintain a household, someone who can clean and cook and take care of yourself. That's the only way you're ever going to be an equal partner to someone. And the only way that you're ever going to have a partner who actually has any respect for you and stays with you in the long term.
And this is bacon.
And once men stop chasing constant approval, their stress levels change dramatically. No pressure to impress. No emotional confusion. No expensive dating lifestyle. Just freedom, stability, and control over their own lives.
Why do men stay single?
2 reasons. Reason number 1, they have that bachelor life and they like it and that's good for them. Or reason number 2, they don't have any options.
So growing up, my grandma would always say, if a man tells you he's depressed, he's just gay. So for my whole life, anytime a guy was sad, I was like, oh, he's just a homosexual. I remember my friend Trevor, he was like, Sienna, I'm gonna get on Wellbutrin. And I was like, okay, slay queen, slay.
Social media made this shift impossible to ignore. Women started noticing more men staying single longer and looking surprisingly peaceful while doing it. The same men once desperate for attention are now emotionally detached and calm.
The male loneliness epidemic is just a fancy way of saying that a huge number of men are bringing absolutely nothing to the table, and women have finally stopped pretending that's okay. That's it. That's the whole thing. And men are literally undateable in record numbers. They're not growing. They're not evolving. They're not doing the emotional work. They're not bringing partnership to the table. They're not even bringing basic respect to the table. Now the women have to put up with it? No, we're choosing not to. And suddenly it's a fucking crisis. Who? It's not a crisis for the women. Women are out here thriving on their own. And that's the funny thing about it too. You look at any time this topic comes up on social media, blaming women for the male loneliness epidemic. Like, are you on drugs? Are you fucking kidding me? It's so ridiculous. You're undateable, sir. I don't know what else to tell you. I'm sorry. If the bar is on the floor and men are still tripping over it, that is not a girl's problem. That is a them problem. Go to therapy, read a book, learn how to cook a meal, learn how to regulate your emotions, learn how to be a genuine partner to someone, and then maybe, just maybe, you'll get chosen, because that's what it is now. It is a choice, and you have to be worth choosing.
What frustrates some women the most is that these men no longer seem emotionally dependent on relationships. They're comfortable alone now. And once a man stops needing validation to feel valuable, the entire dating dynamic changes completely.
Women are single and celibate by choice. Men are single and celibate for a reason. And I need you, if you are a woman going into dating, or you're trying to let go of dating and be happily single on your own, I think so much of it comes down to adjusting your expectations and questioning where those expectations ever even came from. I think that a lot of us women, we go into dating and we romanticize the entire thing. And this is because of fairy tale thinking. And it's not your fault that that's what it was downloaded into your brain. We were watching that shit when we were 3 years old, all of the princess shit. Meanwhile, the boys are watching the hero shit, which shocking now that they have these gigantic egos. It's not surprising that we've both ended up in these situations. However, when it comes to dating, you need to drop the expectation that you're going to go on this first date. It's going to be magical. It's going to be amazing. Because what happens when you have these lofty expectations? You will no longer utilize your discernment. And that is on purpose by media, patriarchy, government, religion, your family, I don't know, whoever you want to say, right? But it's for someone else's benefit that you, for a lack of a better word, but also a word that will make you hear me on this, it's someone else's benefit when you are being stupid as a woman when it comes to choosing a man. And I don't mean that as attack towards a woman. I just want you, I know you're smart. I know you have the frontal lobe. I know you have an intuition. I know you have discernment. We just need to turn it on. And turning that on requires you to also turn off or turn down the volume on some other shit. And once you start recognizing that, That is being single by choice, because you are choosing to see the truth of what these men are presenting you with. Even if they're presenting you a bunch of bullshit, you can see through it because you're discerning, and you can recognize that they're single for a reason. Because I swear, every time I've met a man, I'm like, you're single for a reason. It just might take longer for me to figure out and discern what that reason is. So I encourage you to recognize that fact and flip on the switch of your discernment as soon as possible. That doesn't make you a bitch. It makes you protecting yourself and creating your own happily ever after.
Many single men are also adapting better financially because they simplified their lifestyles. Less spending on dating and fewer emotional distractions allowed many guys to focus on savings, discipline, and long-term goals.
Our generation is cooked. And you can say, well, the men are cooked. Nah, it's still like it's dudes that's perfectly fine. Dudes is perfectly fine without the assistance of a woman. Women need men, not the other way around. And that video I just did yesterday about women being single and struggling, that tells you everything you need to know right there. A man's life is much easier when he's single, not the other way around for women. You hear women on the internet all day long complaining about how much of a struggle it is, yada, yada, yada. Hey, just being honest. Y'all know it to be true. Anything, for the most part, you need done is going to require a man.
A man's life is way harder than a woman's life. And ladies, do you even have the first clue of what a true alpha masculine man has to deal with day in and day out? Do you have an inkling of an idea? Because I guarantee you don't. Men wake up every day knowing nobody's going to hand them anything. Nobody cares how they feel. Nobody's validating them for existing. Everything they have to earn. Respect, money, status, reputation, even his physique. All of it comes with sweat, sacrifice, and relentless pressure. Women are born with value. You're young, you're beautiful, you have femininity, and automatically you get attention, protection, options, and men willing to provide. But a man, he's invisible until he proves himself. Invisible until he brings something to the table. That's the brutal truth. Ladies don't know what it's like to carry the weight of protecting and providing, not just for yourself, but for your family, for the woman you love, for the people counting on you, while nobody's coming to save you even if you fall. Men don't get safety nets. Men don't get sympathy. They grind or they die unnoticed. And yet, despite carrying that pressure, most men still get nothing but criticism. Women demanding more, complaining, disrespecting, instead of appreciating the fact that their man is out there fighting battles that they can't even see. So before you roll your eyes at the men, ladies, ask yourself this. Do you even have the first clue what a real masculine man faces every single day? Because if you did, you would stop nagging and start appreciating. Men's lives are harder. And the fact that they still show up to protect you anyway, that's strength women will never understand.
The biggest twist is that this isn't some loud movement. Men are simply participating less. Less chasing. Less emotional investment. Less desperation. And that quiet withdrawal is changing modern culture in real time.
At this point, I've tried to help the lonely men. I've tried to give them advice and they do not want to be helped. I tell them, you being ugly is not what's keeping you from a relationship. And they say, women only want 7-foot-tall millionaires. I say, invest in your health now if you want to be hot at 40. They say, septum ring theory. I say, charisma is to men as beauty is to women. Focus on your charisma if you're struggling to pull. They say, my social incompetence is a life sentence that I can never ever get out of. The loneliness epidemic is making a lot of sense to me now. It's just victim, me, all the time, all the live long day. Can't feel bad for you anymore. I tried, I did my best, I tried to help you people. Foolish me. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me. Can't get fooled again.
I recently saw an interview with a woman being interviewed, and the interviewer asked her, why does she believe that there are so many single men right now who are struggling with their mental health? And she says, it's because that when the men tell the women what they're struggling with mentally, the women exploit their mental health and they use it against them. She says, I'm a woman myself. I don't know why we do it, but we do it. I don't know who she thinks she's speaking on behalf of, but it's definitely not the majority of women. We are not all out here being armchair psychologists in an attempt to scam, trick, or swindle men into getting what we want from them. The reason I believe so many single men right now are struggling with their mental health is because you're not doing the work. They're not reading the books. They're not going to the counseling, the coaching, the therapy. They're not doing any of those things. They're not evolving. They're not growing. This generation of men have never offered women less. In exchange for your 50% of your paycheck, she's supposed to take on the domestic, physical, emotional, and mental labor of taking care of the family. Like, that's not a good deal for her. You're trying to put lipstick on a pig, and it's still a pig. Women are realizing that it benefits them to stay child-free and unmarried until a man comes along that can offer her everything that she wants. We don't have to settle anymore, so we're not doing it. And you wonder why there are so many women who are the ones who initiate divorce. I recently saw a divorce lawyer here on TikTok, and he said it's mostly because the women say they're tired of doing everything. You don't want to bring anything to the table. You want a 1950s woman to go 50-50 with you, and it ain't happening. And instead of doing the work and trying to evolve, trying to be a better man, you immerse yourself in this alpha male, red pill, misogynistic podcast culture where they're telling you that everything that's wrong in your life right now is a woman's fault. These men have a vested interest in making you feel like, man, she's the problem, bro. He don't even have a woman. Like the blind leading the blind. All we're asking you to do is to bring more to the table than what you're bringing. You have never offered less. You want everything from a woman. And then you have all this criteria about how she has to be this, she has to be that, she has to be this height, body count has to be this. You have all of these different criteria by which you use to disqualify her. But you think it's insane that somebody would disqualify you? I mean, women are realizing more and more that with some men, marriage only benefits the man. Not in all cases. When you actually have a partnership with somebody who's willing to be there with you, and we say 50-50, we don't just mean the money. We mean that we're in it together with the kids. We're in it together with the household chores. We're in it together with supporting each other. Y'all don't want to do that. You want the most while offering the least, and women are not accepting that offer.
Now many women are realizing something uncomfortable. Modern men no longer fear solitude the way previous generations did. In fact, many bachelors now treat peace and independence like luxury.
We keep hearing about the male loneliness epidemic. And ironically, we keep hearing about it mostly from women who are very adamant that they don't care anything about it, yet continue to speak on it almost constantly. Not only that, but they also mention that it's entirely men's fault that they're lonely. But I have some serious doubts about that, because from what I have been seeing, there are actually a lot of men that are perfectly happy being single, and they're not lonely at all. Granted, there are some lonely men out there, but I would also point out that there are a lot of lonely women out there too, but we're not calling that an epidemic, because most women will say that they'd rather be alone than with someone who doesn't appreciate them. And I would actually wager that the same holds true for men, that they would rather be alone than with someone who doesn't treat them properly. So, gentlemen, please, are most of you alone because no one will date you? Or are you alone because you can't find anyone suitable to be in a relationship with? I have a feeling it's more of the latter.
So here's the real question. Are single men thriving because they figured out how to live smarter, or because they finally realized peace feels better than emotional exhaustion?
Men stopped playing by the rules, and now everyone's freaking out. Let's break down why silence has become the loudest move.